Earlier in June of this year, I was invited to be part of an interdisciplinary team of wildlife experts that was organized by the Humane Society of the United States. And there were about 5 of us from around the country who worked with 2 HSUS disaster response specialists, actually. And we flew into New Orleans with the idea that we were going to spend a week in the area assessing the damage caused by the oil spill, looking at the habitat at risk, and trying to come up with an inventory, if you will, of the short-term and long-term issues that needed a response. Now, some of the things clearly are getting a response, at least of sorts. A certain number of animals are being brought in, being cleaned, the oil that's on them is being removed, and those animals are getting world-class care. Trouble is that there's a lot more that we're not hearing, and there's a lot more that the public doesn't see. When we arrived in New Orleans, we were planning to spend a day in a helicopter out over the oil spill, and everything had been cleared through one of the senator's offices, Senator Vitters from Louisiana. We get in the helicopter, we're ready to take off, cell phone rings. Our flight clearance had been revoked. Temporary flight restrictions had been imposed. We were not allowed to even enter the area of airspace over the oil spill. Now, it's not like we were going to be getting in crude oil in a helicopter, but for whatever reason, they found out who was on board and they banned us from access to the area. We went back and forth a number of times. Finally, they relented and said, okay, you can't go in the morning, but at 6 o'clock tonight, you can come in. Well, we did other things during the day. We flew over the bayous and marshes and wetlands of Louisiana. We saw the intricate web of land and water. You can't tell where the water begins and the land ends, and in fact it changes every time the tide moves. But what we did find was a startling awareness that this disaster was bigger than the imagination could behold, and that the habitats at risk were far more fragile, far more intricate, and far more diverse than any type of response would ever be able to adequately protect. Well, the hour came, we finally were supposedly given our clearance to fly over the area where the oil was coming ashore. And again, got in the helicopter, got ready to go, phone rings, flight restrictions have been extended, you're not allowed to enter the area, you cannot fly over the oil. Now, nobody seemed to take responsibility for this decision. We would ask them why, what's the issue? Well, we don't know that, we simply know we've been ordered to revoke your flight restrictions. Was other aircraft getting in? Well, we really couldn't answer that question either. They had decided that we should not see what was going on. The really disturbing thing was we didn't know who they were.